Hello, everyone. I am Chris McIntosh, and I work with a number of students on writing. So I thought I would record this video to go over some of the things that I look for when I am reviewing student writing. So I have up on the screen a website. It's a GitHub page that anybody can look at where I keep information related to writing and tips for improving your writing, and just some of the things that I uh, follow when I am working on student writing. So you'll see this address up here. Anybody can get to this page, and I'll talk a little bit about how this is organized. So first off, I just wanted to go over a little of how I typically will review writing, the things that I am typically looking for in academic student writing with the types of papers I look for right now is section content. It should be appropriate and complete for the section that we're reviewing. Evidence, use citations when you're summarizing, paraphrasing, or quoting material from any other source. In nursing, we follow APA guidelines. So that means you want to have good spelling, grammar, correct headings, correct citation formatting, correct reference formatting, and tables, figures, and appendices correctly formatted and in the right place. And then overall logic and flow. You want to have well-formed paragraphs with topic sentences and suitable transitions with a logical arrangement and clearly written sentences. So I have a couple ways that I do highlighting when I am reviewing student paper. Typically, I will be looking first for a topic sentence, and usually that's the first one or two sentences in a paragraph. And I'll usually highlight that with a light gray color. And then I go through and look at each of the sentences, excuse me, and try to decide how well does that sentence match with the topic sentence or sentences. If something is typically marked in green, often I'll just mark the first word of a sentence. I think that looks good to me. I have started kind of using some highlighting that's similar to how Grammarly does things. Graduate students, where I teach at the University of Utah, are required, in the College of Nursing, are required to be using the Grammarly word add-in. And so problems with spelling, grammar, and punctuation get highlighted in red. And if I see problems, I'll use red highlighting too. Things that are related to clarity and conciseness in Grammarly get highlighted in blue. So if I see things that are wordy, you'll see I have a really wordy sentence here that I'll go ahead and use some blue highlighting. And then sometimes if there's something that either doesn't belong to the paragraph or it doesn't belong to this section, I'll typically highlight it in yellow. The information might be fine, but it just might not be relevant for the section that we're working on, or would be better in another place. So those are some of the things that I'm looking for when I am reviewing student writing. This page I've revised a number of times, and right now, overall, it's kind of written in a writing workflow. And I'm going to go through and just kind of look at some of these parts of this, and I have information related to each step of the writing process. So up here towards the top, I've kind of organized this under the acronym POWER, P-O-W-E-R, and the main parts of that stand for pre-writing, writing, and rewriting. If you're going to state that another way, is doing your research and gathering your information, writing it up into a cohesive narrative, and then editing to make sure that it works. So I like this kind of power writing conceptual framework to help me think about, okay, what am I doing at each step of this process? I'm going to do writing. Am I gathering information and pre-writing? Am I writing it out, and then am I doing my editing? So you can come to this page and look at it, and then I have each of these main sections with some relevant resources. A lot of this has been incorporates some of the AI tools that I've come across in the last year and a half or so. I think a new set of tools is available that really hasn't been widely available before. So I have been experimenting, and I have included some of these things. So pre-writing, I have basically a workflow that I would suggest before you start writing to understand the requirements for your paper, find relevant evidence and information, summarize how relevant evidence sources address aspects of your paper, and always keep citations with your notes, because it's really hard to find things if you've lost track of where it came from. You want to arrange your evidence into logical groupings, kind of think a little bit ahead of time how you're planning to present that information, and then just having that logical order. So some things about academic writing. I have some basic information about what is academic writing. You can click on some of those links and read it. Information about what is a genre. A genre is a set of forms or standards expected by a community. So in academic writing, we focus mostly on the research report with 5 sections: introduction, methods, results, discussion, and conclusion. Lately, a lot of the papers that I've been helping with are more specifically quality improvement, and we're following the Squire 2.0 guidelines, and that is kind of a subgenre that follows this introduction, methods, results, and discussion format. So that's kind of the genre that we're typically writing in, that I've been helping students with lately. You're going to have sections of your paper, and the classes that I'm helping with have already kind of got those papers divided into sections according to the Squire guidelines. So you'll want to get familiar with those as you are working on your writing. Some pre-writing steps. We want to find evidence that we're going to use. So there are scholarly databases, and the Eccles Library at the University of Utah can link you to those. And I do have some AI lit search resources. I'm not going to go into depth into those here, but you can go to this other link and find a page of AI literature search resources that I do keep updated. When working with references, we're not using a huge amount of references, probably less than 20 for most papers, but I do suggest using a reference manager. Zotero is free. It's pretty easy to learn. I've got links to a couple YouTube videos, but there are many videos online, and so you can usually Google Zotero beginner and find helpful videos. If you're a student at the University of Utah, EndNote is available for pretty low cost, and there's a link to the Office of Software Licensing. Eccles Health Library can help with EndNote, and I think probably Zotero questions also. I do recommend buying the most current APA manual. As of the time I'm making this video, it's APA 7. If you don't have a manual, or your manual's not available to you while you're working, you can go to the APA style blog, and probably 90% of the situations that you may encounter as a student writer are going to be talked about and demonstrated on the APA style blog. So there's a link to that. Usually, if you just Google APA 7 and whatever it is you're trying to do, something will come up on Google, and one of those top links will be to the APA style blog. So it's a pretty handy resource. APA has come out with guidance on citing AI tools like ChatGPT And basically, you should mention in the methods section of your paper how you used AI tools as part of your workflow. What I demonstrate mostly here is using it for some ideation and some editing. So that's what you should say. I would not recommend having ChatGPT write your paper. One, it makes stuff up. Two, it doesn't reference what it creates, and you're gonna definitely want to have cite evidence for any assertions you make in your paper. And so I wouldn't use it for the creative part of your writing, but for editing, it works really well. And I'm going to show you a couple ways to do things. So I do have there are a number of general AI tools, and I've linked to several of them here. And you can try them out. For most of these general writing prompts, I think I've found that ChatGPT has been good. I understand that several of these have paid versions, and sometimes the paid versions do better than the free ones, but I've only tried free options here, so that's what I've linked to here. Okay, so that's kind of some tools for the pre-writing step. For the writing step, definitely you want to be using Grammarly as a student. As a graduate student at the U of U, have access to it for free, and graduate students in the College of Nursing are required to use Grammarly. So install the Word add-in to use that. There is a link to the Graduate Student Writing Center. They can help with reviewing your writing and making suggestions, and so that's another resource available to you. So I have included a few prompts that may be helpful with writing. So if you have collected pieces of text and you maybe just have them arranged in an order, you can just take the text and say, please help me write this text as an engaging paragraph. If you copy this prompt right here, I'll just show that to you really quick. If you click on the little, looks like two little squares above each other, and that will copy that. And if you go to ChatGPT, let's just use our link so I get the right one. And you can just paste that prompt right into the window and then paste your text where I have it in between the quotes. And that can at least get you started. So if you're having a hard time getting started, take the basic information in the order you want it and ask ChatGPT to help you turn it into a paragraph. And I'd work paragraph by paragraph here. ChatGPT is not a person and does not always organize the ways that we might do it. So I've had very mixed results taking long sections of text and asking ChatGPT to arrange it in paragraphs. But if you have, if you basically get your pieces of information, and especially at the paragraph level, it can help you move forward with that pretty quickly. Topic sentences. I expect to see topic sentences in your paragraphs. And sometimes it might be hard to come up with a good topic sentence. So if you have a basic paragraph, you can ask ChatGPT to give you some possible topic sentences. And maybe one of them is great and maybe none of them are great, but at least they'll give you some ideas on what might be some possible topic sentences. So again, that's you're perfectly free to come up with your own topic sentences, but if you're having a hard time, that could be something that just keeps you moving forward. So we've talked about pre-writing, we've talked about writing, and now we're talking about rewriting, and that's the editing process. So I have, kind of a basic workflow that I put down here. And it's been a while, a number of months since I've looked at this workflow, so hopefully I still think it makes sense. I revise this once in a while if I think something could be stated better. One note I give you is correct all your grammar and punctuation before you send your work to anybody else to look at. with things like Grammarly and even ChatGPT, those problems can be fixed so quickly and easily that it's just there's really no reason to send stuff with grammar and punctuation errors to other people to read. It slows them down. It makes it harder to go through your work. So just don't do it. So I like to get the comprehensiveness of content coverage for each section kind of evaluated. And I do have another page that I have some prompts for each section of a Squire paper to evaluate if the right content is there. And this is something that ChatGPT is pretty good at. I'm not going to go into it here in this video, but I do suggest you look at other videos that'll be available in the course. Edit for grammar and punctuation, edit for structure and organization, edit for clarity and conciseness, edit for consistent tone. So you can kind of do a couple of these at the same time. I do have a set of writing articles called the Reader Expectation Approach. And it's the basic premise is when you're writing for an audience, you should be writing for the things that a reader is looking for. And there are things we can do as writers to make our writing more understandable for readers. I'm not going to go into the specifics here in this video, but there are many links here in this page. I'm going to skip over this. You can go back and read some of these reader expectation things. Some of if you've been my student in the past, you may have already had to read some of these articles, but I've got links to a number of these things. So as far as revising writing, really the paragraph is a main section that we're looking at. And so I have some links to some different information about writing good paragraphs. And you can go through and review these, when you have time. It's just good basic information about what makes a strong paragraph. And some of these articles are from the Reader Expectation Approach, some good information about how paragraphs are organized and what we can do to make them good for our readers. You can't really talk about paragraphs without talking about sentences, so I also have some link to information about writing effective sentences, and you can review this information as you have time. Some good information on there that sometimes we don't always think about or we may not have learned in previous, writing when we were younger. I do have a couple things here about professional voice and tone, which are good to follow. Again, this outlining section we've already kind of looked at. And as I don't know if I mentioned this already, with Grammarly, red highlighting is for spelling, grammar, and punctuation, and blue highlighting is for clarity and conciseness. So you really want to address most, if not all, of those things that get marked in Grammarly so that when reviewers read your paper, they don't have reasons to come back and ask you for a lot of revisions, especially the things you could catch ahead of time. I do have a prompt in here that can look at each line of writing in ChatGPT and look for spelling and grammar problems. If you're using Grammarly, you don't need to use this, but if you don't have Grammarly right there, this is a way you can use ChatGPT to look at that. And then this general prompt of how well does the following text answer each of these questions, and you can list out a bunch of questions or criteria that should be covered, and ChatGPT will do quite a good job of reviewing the writing and evaluating how well it addresses each of the items. So look at the quality improvement paper prompts, and you can find specific prompts for each section of the papers you're going to be writing. And some of this is rhetorical structure theory. You can look at it if you're interested. You don't need to worry about it. Some prompts for editing. Again, if you're covering the basics, you'll probably be good. I do tend to use track changes and comments in Word. So Here's some links to how to use track changes. Here's some links about how to use comments to reply to them and to delete them. If I see something I think needs to be changed, I'll usually do a comment, and if you get that, you'll want to address it, and then say you addressed it, and then we'll delete the comment after things get fixed. And then the rest of this is just references that I cited in this article. So I hope that helps you with some basic writing things and what I am looking for when I am working with student writing. This section with the highlighting here really goes over, what the things I'll be looking for and what I will mark up and ask you to look at and maybe fix, and how we can go back and forth on these things. Good luck with your writing this semester, and always contact me if you have questions or need to figure out how to do something that's hard or not working well.